Hello, dear viewers. Good evening and welcome to a new episode of Business Insider. I'm your host for tonight, Mohammed Abdel, and tonight we'll be talking about the carbonic effect and the carbon footprint effect on the economy, and with a special look at the case here in Egypt, the Egyptian economy. And with us here in the studio is Dr. Fattah Badr, the Professor of Plant Genetics and Biodiversity at Helwan University. Always a great pleasure to have you with us, Dr. Badr.
Thank you very much for having me. I enjoy talking with you on this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Badr, for being with us. Dear viewers, Dr. Badr, please stay with us. We'll be watching this report first about our main topic for tonight, the carbon footprint effect and its repercussions on the Egyptian economy.
Okay.
In preparation of the official inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum on November the 1st, Minister of Local Development and Acting Minister of Environment Manal Awad met with GEM CEO Ahmed Ghanim to discuss the museum's environmental impact. The meeting focused on evaluating carbon emissions generated during the museum's operational phases and developing a future report on emissions expected from the upcoming opening ceremony. According to a statement from the Ministry of Environment, Minister Awad emphasized the significance of the museum as one of Egypt's most important national projects, particularly after receiving an internationally certified report measuring the museum's carbon emissions for 2024. The report was issued following approval by the Environmental Verification and Attestation Unit at the General Authority for Export and Import Control in collaboration with the Egyptian National Accreditation Council. This recognition marks the GEM as the first Egyptian museum to obtain such an eco-friendly certification. Awad highlighted that this milestone demonstrates GEM's commitment to international environmental standards and underscores Egypt's dedication to integrating sustainability into its most prominent cultural and historical landmarks. She further noted that this initiative comes as part of a broader plan to reduce the museum's carbon footprint through improved energy efficiency, better resource management, and the adoption of environmentally friendly practices. A comprehensive carbon footprint assessment was carried out for the museum's trial operations phases in 2023 and 2024. The report revealed that approximately 16,069 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent were emitted during this period. The minister also stated that the Ministry of Environment is working closely with the Secretariat of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change to achieve carbon neutrality for the museum during the trial phase. Additionally, coordination is underway with the museum management to prepare two key reports, one on emissions from the official opening ceremony and the other covering the museum's operational carbon footprint through 2025. For his part, GEM CEO Ahmed Ghanim stressed the importance of continuing cooperation with the Ministry of Environment. He reiterated that the Grand Egyptian Museum is the first in Egypt to receive an eco-friendly certification and affirmed the museum's commitment to aligning with Egypt's 2030 vision for sustainable development by maintaining environmental standards. Al-Shayma Aidi, head of the Occupational Safety and Health Authority and head of the museum's Workplace Environment Security Department, was in attendance and outlined the museum's efforts to implement sustainable practices. These include the use of smart and green transportation methods such as the metro and electric vehicles, as well as water conservation initiatives and the installation of solar cells to reduce electricity consumption.
All right, thank you very much, dear viewers, for staying with us, and many thanks to Abir Hussein and Rasha Abdel for this report. And we're back here in the studio with Dr. Fattah Badr, and we are going to talk about the carbonic and the carbon footprint and its effect on the Egyptian economy. But first, we understand, Dr. Badr, that there is an international science conference that will be organized by the Faculty of Science at Helwan University,
Yes.
where you teach, and this is the third such conference that deals with science and environment. Could you please talk to us about this upcoming conference that will be held on the 13th and 14th of October?
Thank you. That is the third conference for our college. This conference is devoted to climate change and its impact on the environment and industry and so on. So we have three major topics concerned with the climate change and its impacts on different fields of human activities and industries and so on. So we have three tracks for the conference.
Okay, the three tracks are?
Industry, environment, social sustainability.
Okay.
Because, of course, climate change also has some impact on social sustainability and health and other.
Egypt has had some great efforts and has been a voice.
Yes.
For combating global warming,
Yes.
and climate change.
That's true. Since Dr. Mustafa Tolba was General Secretary of the United Nations, assistant to the General Secretary of the United Nations, and he was a Minister of Youth when I was a student some years ago. And he was actually Professor of Science at Cairo University, and he's a person who established actually how to fight climate change and the environment. So the word environment, some time ago we talk about ecology. Ecology is the environment at the teaching level, at the academic level.
Yes.
But some people like Dr. Tolba and Dr. Assas and many others, fortunately they are Egyptians, but they are international figures who actually introduced the environment. So so we don't talk about the local ecology, but we also talk about the environment. And the environment is much broader than the ecology.
Right. Of course, Egypt organized COP27 here some 3 years ago in Sharm el-Sheikh.
I actually attended COP27 and also COP28.
Yes, at the United Arab Emirates.
The United Arab Emirates, yes.
I wanted to ask you before we proceed. Now, we're seeing a big world leader like the United States and the U.S. administration represented by U.S. President Donald Trump, an administration which does not really believe in fighting global warming or in the importance of fighting climate change. How do you think this will affect the efforts of the international community at large to combat climate change?
Unfortunately, the two large industrial countries, USA and China, are the most producing carbon to the environment. They actually polluting the environment and encouraging the production of carbon dioxide, which actually causes climate change. If you have the map of the world and you look at the countries, the least contributing countries are the African poor countries, but the most contributing countries are the United States
and China, the world's two biggest economies.
Yes.
So you're saying that the problem is not just the stance of the U.S. administration, but also the pollution caused by the world's second largest economy.
Yes.
So actually, it's the U.S. and China. It's
the U.S. and China.
Not just the U.S.
Yes. Yes.
So how is this going to affect the efforts of Europe, of Africa, of the rest of the world?
Unfortunately, the climate change move by different means across borders. So climate change in China, in the United States, may move to Mexico or to Canada, and from China to other neighboring countries. In the Mediterranean, we don't have many industrialized countries, but we still have some activities that may contribute to climate change. Egypt's position is not as good. We've been leaders, as we said, Dr. Tolba and Dr. Qassas and others have contributed to understanding the impact of climate change on many fields of human activities, and Egypt's position is very one.
How do you see the awareness right now here in Egypt?
We relatively have good awareness. We have Ministry of Environment, or at least body of concerning the environment. It's not only the climate change, but other biodiversity and so on, and others. But Egypt is well on climate change. The activities done by Egypt, the contribution of Egypt is understandable, is leading in African countries and the Middle East. And also many Egyptians work in other countries in this field, because we have college for ecology or for environment at different universities. We have institutions, and we actually graduate students who understand the environment and can contribute to understanding climate change and how to fight and how to reduce the activity, the impact of climate change on the social life and the agriculture and others.
How do we measure the footprints?
It's measured by the carbon dioxide.
The emissions?
Yes. Carbon is about 70%. There are some other gases, but mainly the carbon dioxide is the main contributor. So we actually, if we measure other nitrous acid or other compounds, gases, but carbon dioxide is considered as a main contributor to climate change.
And if we, for years, for decades maybe, and especially in the more recent years, the developed countries and the South in general has been complaining that they are paying the price for what the North is doing, or the developed nations are doing. And we asked here in the South, or as a voice for developed developing nations, for reparations. How is this file working? I mean, are we making any progress in this file? Because we've heard promises, but
I remember there was a session in the COP27, COP27, particularly in COP27 that was in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt.
Especially about this issue.
This issue. And one of the recommendations by the Egyptian conference is to the North pay compensation to the South.
Right.
The problem is the South asks for compensation, but the North promise, but it does not pay. That's a problem. And there is some European countries are aware of climate change. They are not contributing to climate change like the US and China. But again, Europe is more contributing to climate change than Africa. So it has been a debate for many years, since the Paris conference in 1985. We always, the South, complain because we suffer from the climate change made by the North, and the North promised to compensate the South.
So little, you're telling us, Dr. Badr, that little progress has been made on this file that's been on the table for 40 years now?
They promise, they may pay something, they contribute some training of our young scientists on how to handle climate change. But the promises are not all fulfilled by the North, who's contributing more to climate change. The Europeans are more aware than the Americans and the Chinese.
Right.
India is now started to be one of the contributing to climate change, because industry in India is progressing
very fast.
And this actually is contributing to climate change.
So, I mean, there was great hope some 10 years ago, maybe, at a different time and a different U.S. administration, maybe more than 10 years ago, maybe in the Obama time.
Yes.
Because as a Democrat, he was a believer in fighting global warming and climate change. This has faded now.
Yes.
This has faded.
Now we have Trump, who does not actually believe there is any climate change.
Yeah.
And
he believes in fossil fuels.
Yes. He said, and even if he promises, he will not fulfill his promises. Because the situation probably is complicated. Probably they used to promise and they don't fulfill their promises. But in Egypt, because we don't have too much industry, we don't have serious
pollution. But the cement factories, Dr. Badr.
We have cement factories, but they are in areas with least impact on the people. For example, the cement in Helwan or in
areas that are not inhabited at a large scale.
By humans. So Egypt is relatively safe from climate change. And also, there is also, of course, we have pollution, but because we don't have many industry, we also have a big country and the population we don't suffer from population. It's not a serious problem, but we still need to study it, to be careful, and to make some measures. So we don't wait until there is a serious problem. But Egypt is doing well. They have institutions, well-educated persons. We deal with pollution very well. With our conditions, we are good.
Egypt is trying to take the initiative in this file, and obviously there is political will in this area.
Yes. Not now, but for many years.
Yes.
Yeah. Probably, as we said, since Dr. Tolba was the General Secretary for Environment, and he was a minister in Egypt, who's actually the awareness was actually encouraged by Dr. Yusuf Wali when he was the Minister of Agriculture, and even after the current situation, we're still aware of the importance of taking care of our environment and minimizing the climate change caused by
the carbon emissions and the other and the other factors. So also for years now we've been talking about renewable energy. As you know, a necessity, that there is a necessity and that it's not a luxury to resort to a renewable energy instead of the traditional energy that creates so much havoc to the planet. But if you have the world's, again, leading economies in the US and China, you know, not believing in this idea, does that mean that also the area of renewable energy and all of the spending that has been you know, executed when it comes to solar energy, wind energy, and other green hydrogen and other renewable energy sources, does that mean that, you know, there will be a derailment there in this area, or do you still believe that the rush to renewable energy and alternative energy will still be on track?
I think Egypt considers alternative energy is a serious alternative, because we don't have sufficient energy from oil and other sources, which are actually polluting because of. But solar energy, we have a program of solar energy with the help of Germany on the Red Sea coast. We also have a project on hydrogen. We have the high dam, about 20% of our electricity come from the water of the high dam.
We have the nuclear power plant
in the north, on the
with the Russians.
So we have alternatives. Probably if we can The solar energy is still too expensive to construct, but in the long term it is a good alternative because each one can take care of himself, at least the normal uses for cooking and the television and so on. We can use solar energy for this.
How is the Ben project progressing?
So far, it's Ben is the largest project in Africa, and big contribution. It's doing well, but I'm not sure. I have not read new reports about the progress of Ben in the last few.
What about wind energy?
Wind energy is good in the Hurghada and
the Red Sea area.
The Red Sea area, and there's some wind as well, but it's not strong enough to make industry, for example, and so on. But it is good for some purpose
okay.
We have strong wind there, but it's not sufficient to establish an industry and so on.
That's as far as Egypt is concerned. What about globally? I'm asking your view, for your view, sir. You're a scientist.
Yes.
I mean, you're an expert in this field. So, and supposedly also we have international viewers here, not just Egyptian viewers on Nile TV International. So, globally, the rush or the move towards renewable energy, will it be derailed by the fact that the Americans and the Chinese, the two biggest, the owners of the two biggest economies in the world, and the two biggest polluters in the world, and those who don't believe in the idea, will the rush for climate change globally, for fighting climate change globally, be affected by Washington and Beijing?
There are some strong efforts to reduce climate change by environment-friendly methods in Germany, for example. But this is not sufficient for combating climate change. Germany, of course, is an industrialized country, and the pollution there is not simple like in Egypt or in other African.
But Germany is one of the world leaders in renewables, right?
Yes, but they don't have probably enough sun to make solar. They may try other ways as well, but they still rely on oil for industry, because industry is a major source of German economy.
Of course.
So they wouldn't sacrifice trials with solar energy.
It's still Europe's biggest economy, right?
It's still Europe's biggest economy, even larger than Britain and France.
Which type of renewable energy, Dr. Badr, you think will be more valuable to the world, to the globe, in a few years' time, or in a decade or two?
Solar energy.
Okay.
And water.
Okay.
Energy from water. Because Europe have rain, and they can actually manage to establish systems of energy production from water resources.
Solar energy and water energy. Right. I want to go back again to
the nuclear, but nuclear, of course, is not encouraged by. Although we have nuclear, nuclear is clean. It's not pollutant. Does not pollute much, like coal, for example.
Of course.
But expensive, and if we have a problem, it's a serious problem.
Speaking of expensive, I mean, again, we've been hearing, the non-experts, like myself, we've been hearing that there is a need or a must to a transition to renewable energy globally to protect the planet, and that this transition will take time, and initially will take a lot of money, I mean, a lot of investments,
Yes.
a lot of financing,
Yes.
but long term, it will be
Yes.
not only better for the
Yes.
planet, but
Yes.
also less costly. Is that a correct statement?
Very correct. You've said it better than I could formulate.
So that's a correct
That's
statement.
correct statement. Yeah. For the establishment of the system, you spend too much, but in the longer term, the treatment will cost less.
That's besides, of course, the fact that if we make the transition to renewable energy gradually, we will be saving the reserves.
Yes.
The globe will be saving the reserves of oil and gas.
We
And
can also take some efforts to reduce the carbon from the environment. And the plants.
like
Plants play a major role in this because the plants absorb carbon from the environment for the process of photosynthesis and so on. In Egypt, we have some plants growing in the Red Sea. Abyssinia marina is a plant growing in south of Hurghada. It's a water plant. It's called the Abyssinia marina after the famous Islamic Ibn Sina. Abyssinia marina. It absorbs carbon to water, so that reduces the carbon in the environment, and this will reduce the climate change. And if we actually do some experiments with this system in the Red Sea and it succeeds, it will be a good example for other countries to do this. In the Gulf of Aqaba, we also have some plants, and we can also use this. The problem with this, it's only in water, in sea. But if the pollution is not close to the sea, you have to find other methods of treating the carbon dioxide produced by factories.
Okay, maybe a scientific question here. Dr. Badr, if you allow me, we understand that the industrial activities and transportation and deforestation, naturally all of this increase the
These
footprint.
are the factor causing climate change.
But I also read that the agricultural activities also do that.
Yes.
I really don't understand. How can the agricultural activities cause
about 10 to 15% of the carbon dioxide because of the animals. The animals produce some organic material that contains carbon.
Okay. But it's only 10 to 15%. So the other factors that we mentioned. And how can, again, we protect ourselves from this? You said that it's important for scientists to develop ways of knowing how to react to climate change or diminish the bad effects.
Carbon dioxide, to transform it into non-carbon dioxide form. To introduce the carbon dioxide into organic compounds that does not actually cause pollution, because what causes pollution is carbon dioxide. If you transform carbon dioxide into organic material, then the organic material we can eat organic material. So that's important to transform carbon dioxide produced by different sources.
We do this here in Egypt?
We do it in some, but because we are not actually producing too much carbon dioxide as pollution, it's not a priority. But so far, as I said, Abyssinia marina is an example. We actually teach it as an example that other people may use it. And as long as the environment can absorb the carbon dioxide without causing problems, it's okay. So the system can regulate itself. But as a whole, the basic rule is to reduce the emission of carbon dioxide. And of course, we said deforestation is one of the causes of carbon dioxide. We should not cut forest. In the Brazil or in Africa, they cut forest to have agricultural land. This is not a good approach. But
But they want agricultural land for food security, I would get.
If you don't like us to do this, give us
an alternative.
An alternative. But we need international cooperation and actually with strong belief in the idea that carbon dioxide.
That's why I started the episode, Dr. Badr, by asking you about the position of Washington and Beijing, and how is this affecting the international cooperation you were talking about that we need.
Yes, the biggest two economies in the world do not actually believe that carbon dioxide
or don't want to believe or want to turn a blind eye, as we say.
They don't see a problem in this. But other countries in Europe are aware of this. Africa are aware because actually we are not producing carbon dioxide enough to pollute the environment. So the international cooperation need to be regulated, and this regulation must be applied. We should not only get some promises that will pay us for compensating polluting our environment by their industries. They should actually have some regulations that force them to pay. Otherwise, we should find other ways to press the polluting countries to pay for their pollution of other countries as well. Because this move across not only countries, across continents as well, and not only in air, it's also in water, and other sources of the underground water, for example, and so on. So it's international. We need international cooperation, sincere international cooperation. The two contributing, China and the US, are not believing in this, or probably because they profit much from the industry.
Even if they believe, I mean, maybe they believe, but it's just they chose to turn a blind eye because the benefits from...
One of them is selling arms and the other are selling cars. and that's their problems.
All right.
And even India, when India started to be an industrialized countries, they also contribute to pollution.
Yes. Dr. Badr, as I always say here in the program, maybe there's not a single episode where the word AI, artificial intelligence or AI doesn't appear. So here is the moment now. How is AI involved in combating climate change? And is it involved at a large scale?
Not yet. Because artificial intelligence is still a topic not understood by many people. Even it's taught in universities in engineering and science and so on. But the application of artificial intelligence in our daily life is not yet routine. So the application of artificial intelligence in this topic and the others is still under...
I'm glad. I'm glad that I finally found an area where AI is not heavily involved.
Not yet, because we still not actually understand it. I think there are some colleges for artificial intelligence. The new generation will be. But again, artificial intelligence is a science for the future. Students and our boys and girls should actually study artificial intelligence than we have.
So as a scientist, Dr. Badr, talk to us, please, to our viewers and maybe to some decision makers about the importance of, about the dangers. The environmental and socio-economic dangers of climate change, the most important dangers, the most imminent dangers. How can this, and when I said maybe some Americans or Chinese or Indians will listen to you and will affect the policy makers there.
Because climate change actually will lead to reduced agricultural production. This may cause hunger and health, affect health. And if health is affected,
Clear.
Another problem, the medical treatments will cost some money. So it is all facets of life is actually exposed to the impact of climate change, agricultural production, health, and even social science. So it's not only carbon dioxide will reduce the production or sea level will increase and salinity in the soil will be increased. Increased salinity in the soil will actually impact the agricultural production, and this will cause hunger and so on. So all social development
speaking
will be impacted by the climate change.
Clear. And you chose to start by the health risks and the food security that can be threatened.
Yes.
So I think I must ask this question now. Because climate change is a de facto now. I mean,
yeah.
You know, no matter what, no matter what we do or try to or talk ourselves out of this or call for international cooperation. I mean, nobody's listening. The world's two biggest economies are not listening, and you're saying that India is now joining.
Yes.
And who knows who will join next? So, how to react to this? How can we defend food security at a time when we know that this will continue, climate change will continue? We will not be able to achieve that 2050 goal of no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius of an increase and so on.
Yes.
How best to defend food security?
International cooperation, and because these two countries actually don't import food. They are self-sufficient, probably export.
For sure.
But in countries like many countries in Africa, including Egypt, we import food.
Most of our food,
because we know the water we have is not sufficient for the production of us, for production of our agriculture. But other African countries face similar situation like us, North Africa, most of them North Africa, many countries in the Mediterranean, probably some European countries as well. So at least we can cooperate in the Middle East and in the Mediterranean area and in the African countries. If we cannot cooperate with China and the United States, we can at least cooperate with other African countries. Other African countries have land, and we can cooperate with them for securing our food production. We also have experience in agriculture, we have experience in medicine, we have experience in industry. We actually contribute to these countries by exporting our knowledge and our understanding of these fields for importing our food from countries that have land in it, like South Sudan or Sudan.
Speaking of Sudan and South Sudan, and you being with us here, I guess I have to pose this question because it's in the minds of many people here in Egypt are wondering, you know, what's happening to the Renaissance Dam and the water that has flooded much of Sudan.
Yes.
It has reached Khartoum even,
yes.
and you know, and some areas drowned near the capital, the Sudanese capital. How is this Ethiopian dam negatively now affecting food security in Sudan, first of all?
Yes.
You know, that's under drowning conditions, and how will it affect Egypt?
Yes. If we have the Ethiopians actually should have controlled the flooding of the dam to Sudan. Fortunately, we have the high dam that actually minimized the impact of this on Egypt. We also have the Toshka area. This water is good for our country as well. But with this, we have to discuss with Ethiopia and other countries to control the regulation of water from.
I mean, Sudan is paying a
well.
price now
Yes,
for the Ethiopian dam.
Flooding. Even with their dams, they could not control the flooding. And this is probably the first year the Zahir Dam is finished. What about next years in the future? They were reluctant to negotiate, but in the first test, our concern is true.
Yes.
They should have given more attention to the concern by Egyptians and Sudanese and discussed this. Probably we should have contributed with our experience in building the dams to make the dam more effective in controlling the flow of water under flooding like we have seen this year. But there's other different countries like Zambia and Kenya and many other countries where we can contribute, and we can probably make some agreements to secure our food for universities, university professors teaching their students, or doctors treating their people in building hospitals. The many ways of cooperation with Africa. Africa is very important to us, and
absolutely.
In this area, probably you can negotiate to control the carbon dioxide production there, and to minimize the climate change, and also to secure the food production in cooperation with these countries as well. And of course we also do great efforts in reclaiming the new land, and our productions doing well in the Western Delta and many other countries.
Now also, Dr. Badr, I wanted to mention this, aside from killing tens of thousands of Palestinian civilians and destroying much of Gaza, the Israeli occupation is using internationally banned weapons by the war crime suspect, led by the war crime suspect Israeli Premier Netanyahu. You as a scientist, not just as a human being, of course, that must have felt so sorry and very sympathetic with the defenseless Palestinians who are being killed by the occupation day in and day out and facing hunger and so on. But also as a scientist, how much harm has Israel done to this piece of land and to the surrounding pieces of land from a scientific point of view when it comes to harming the planet and so on?
What Netanyahu and his army has done to Gaza is probably more than the Nazis have done to the Jews in the Second World War. 2.5 million people, almost 2.5 million people, have been without food for months, and their homes, almost all homes of Gaza is destroyed. Schools, universities, hospitals are destroyed.
No life.
The history has not have not seen any demolish in this, in ethnic cleansing as well. And
yes.
The way the Israeli army treated the Palestinian is actually not human. I don't find the words that describe this.
And they have done harm.
Otherwise, I will talk about the Jews, and if we talk about the Jews, they will stand anti-Semitic and not anti-Semitic. But
yes.
Again, and if they are good Jews, they should not have done this.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of Jewish people in the United States and elsewhere opposing the war crimes that Netanyahu's government is committing. But to the planet, how much damage have they done to Earth, to Mother Planet?
How many arms
Mother Earth.
America have given Israel to blow Gaza? And they plan to rule Gaza. Gaza has its own people, and the people of Gaza should actually rule themselves. Not an international
absolutely,
player, Netanyahu and Trump.
Absolutely.
To rule Gaza. But I hope the situation will improve. It is very
We all
serious,
hope so.
and we are sorry that we've seen our brothers in Gaza suffering for 2 years.
It's been too long.
Yes, yes.
One final question, Dr. Badr, as of course a professor of plant genetics and biodiversity.
Yes.
So how is climate change
Yes.
affecting biodiversity? That's the final question.
There is a very serious question. I can teach course in this.
Yeah, of course. I know. I mean, that's your area. That's your field. Yeah.
We actually.
Maybe in a future episode we'll talk about this.
Yeah. You know, I'm also the head of the Environment Council in the Academy of Science. We actually discuss this many times as well. But the climate change has serious effect on biodiversity, because the biodiversity is not actually, it is a source for the future. So the source for the future, if we keep the biodiversity and reserve it for the future, then we reserve the resources for our future crops. And that's why there is a biodiversity agreement made in Brazil in 1991, 92. So the biodiversity...
Beautiful country, Brazil.
Yes, yes. So that biodiversity is the biological resources for the future agriculture. And the future agriculture is food for the future human people. So if we preserve biodiversity, we preserve genetic resources, we ensure that we have food for the growing populations.
Maybe we should have a special episode just for this topic. And also, we hope to have you soon, Dr. Badr, to talk about the conference that your university, the Helwan University, is organizing, the International Conference on Climate Change. Thank you very much.
I always enjoy talking to you.
It's always a great pleasure and honor to have you with us. Dr. Abdel Fattah Badr, the Professor of Plant Genetics and Biodiversity at Helwan University, and the head of the research Environmental Research Department
in the Academy of Science.
At the Academy of Science here in Egypt. Thank you very much, Dr.
Thank you very much.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching us. Please stay with Nile TV.